The 2.4 update of Wuthering Waves have finally reached our screen, and I want to go ahead and talk about it. Hey guys, my name is Luna, but you can just call me Lux, and I'm going to go ahead and talk about my feelings and thoughts about this 2.4 update of Wuthering Waves, and kind of my own feelings on everything. And I want to start off strong by starting off with the main character, or the main antagonist, if you will. Furlova, she was the main part of the story. We got to know more about her backstory. We know why she's doing what she's doing, and I always had this feeling about Furlova ever since we first saw her way back when we were like first coming into Jinzhou and everything like that. And we meet her right after we have a conversation with Scar. And obviously we didn't know much about her back then because she was literally just, she kind of came out of nowhere just to like break up the fight between Rover and Scar or whatever that was going on. But I always had this feeling that Furlova was never really a bad person. I don't really think anybody that we've met so far is like are bad people. I always say to myself, like, they do bad things and they may do things selfishly, but they're not bad. They have a heart. And it's just like with Furlova, she's doing all of these things for a reason. Granted, she's hurting a lot of people along the way, but at the end of the day, she's still doing it for a specific reason, and it's not just for something of her own self-desire, which really shows Furlova's character here. In this story, even though I kind of skipped most of it, most of the cutscenes kind of explain her backstory and what actually happened. So she's technically an undead, immortal human being, I guess, if you will. Like, she's not even human anymore. Like, she's an undead person, if you will. And she died way back when by kind of like a meteor, and everything seemed to go so well for her that day. It looked like she just finished a concert of some sort, because I'm pretty sure she played the violin, so everybody was so happy to see her. And then all of a sudden a meteor or whatever calamity came out of the sky and basically shot down her hometown, and I was just like, wow, that's crazy. And even in that scene specifically, it was very emotional because that's when her powers awoken. She was the only one out of everybody there who survived, if you really call it that. And ever since then, she has just been living in this constant cycle of being alone, being immortal. No one's there with her, no one understands her. And I really did feel bad for her in this story. We also learn that she used to be friends with Rover back in the day before Rover decided to erase his memory, which is just a very sad move, because if you remember in the story, Rover went ahead and made a promise to Furlova saying that once your song is complete, I'll be back to listen to it, and basically broke that promise. And that's kind of not his fault, but kind of is at the same time, because he did lose his memory, so that therefore he lost that relationship he had with Furlova, which was really sad. And the only one who really remembered it was Furlova herself, which she really did feel betrayed about. And I don't blame her, especially for someone who said that once I make a promise, I'll never break it, I'll see it through to the very end, and ends up not being able to keep that promise. And towards the very end, where we had the boss fight, well, not even towards the end when we had the boss fight, after the boss fight, and we try to get that crystal, that gem or whatever from Furlova, and how he was saying how our partnership or whatever was over, and Furlova isn't the type that would laugh about anything. So the fact that she sarcastically laughed, it was like she was in disbelief, she was heartbroken. Like, you can tell she really did feel betrayed, and like I really did feel bad for her. I can't say too much about Rover. I feel like Rover was very cold this story. I feel like he was able to just drop certain things on Furlova and just not care, mainly because she is an antagonist. She does bad things, but I like how Furlova clocked Rover saying, like, you're doing things to save the people you care about, even though it ends up hurting other people along the way. Even if it wasn't intentional, you were still ending up doing something that is harming other people around you. And Furlova is a great example of this, because when Rover decided to erase their memory, they erased everything that they had with Furlova and the promise that they made to Furlova. And even though Rover was doing it for a good reason, it was for the betterment of the people they cared about, it also hurt people that cared about the rover. So I like how the rover and Furlova are like cut from the same cloth in that instance, where they're both doing something that could very much cost their lives and other lives on the line as well, but they still do it because their goal is stronger than that, if that makes sense. So honestly, that whole storyline was really sad. I really did feel for Furlova. I felt bad. She did not deserve what she's gone through. It was really sad. And after, well, not even after, but even before, I knew I wanted to pull her character, but even now this solidifies what I was kind of feeling about her character. I really did feel bad for her. And honestly, she's like the first character that is not necessarily good, but not necessarily bad either. Like I've stated multiple times before, how she's doing bad things but for a good reason. That doesn't make her bad actions okay, but it gives her an explanation, a reason, not an excuse. Moving on to actually farming for Furlova's echoes, which is Dream of the Lost, I'm pretty sure, or something like that. I forgot what the new echo set is called for Furlova, but I hate how in order to farm for the Nightmare Hecate, or Hecate, whatever you want to say her name, you have to finish the main story in order to start farming for that echo, which is really annoying. And they have this new mechanic where in order to farm for the other echoes as well, you go to one specific location where all of the echoes spawn. You get like 36, 39, I'm pretty sure, echoes spawn at once. You defeat them all, and maybe at most, if you're lucky, you'll get 10 to 15 echo drops that you can go ahead and collect, and it only respawns or refreshes every day. So that's really annoying to me, how you can't just sit there and farm all day. You literally have to wait a certain amount of time before you can farm again, which I found very annoying. I didn't really like that personally. I don't know why you have to all of a sudden complete the main quest in order to farm Hecate. I'm probably saying that doll's name wrong, but I want to go ahead and kind of talk about the reason why I decided to pull for Furlova even before her story. Obviously, before her story, I pulled her, but I pulled her because of her unique fighting style. Like, she's not actively on battle, like using herself to be actively on battle. She's like off field, but she has her doll Hecate on field fighting for her. And honestly, I love her in this whole conductor type of vibe that's going on, especially since we know that in her past life she used to be a conductor and she used to play the violin. So it really does make sense as to why she would conduct a battle without actually being in the battle. And I found her fighting style to be really cool and interesting to me, because we've never had a character that has an off-field playing style where she's not actually in the battle, but she's still actively controlling how the battle turns out from the sidelines, from the seats, which was really cool for me. And I was just like, this is a whole new gameplay style that I wasn't familiar with or used to, and that's why I pulled for her character. I really didn't know much about her. I was still trying to look up lore stories about her because I still am just not sure everything about her. Apparently she can heal herself even though she's dead, you know, so she's not technically dead. And I want to kind of bring this back to the whole story again. I know I'm jumping from topic to topic here, but I do want to bring back the whole story, like at the very end of the main quest, how people say that she's quote unquote dead, even though she's kind of trapped, or like not trapped, but kind of merged herself with her sononosphere, I'm pretty sure, where in a sense she is kind of like hibernating, resting. She's not technically dead, but her frequencies or whatever are still like alive. So she's technically alive, but her physical body, her physical appearance was dead a long time ago. What's left are her frequencies. So I mean, you know, do with that what you will. Even Abby said at the end of the story that she's not technically dead, like she's not gone, but she is there, but not, if that makes sense. That probably didn't make any sense at all. But I really like how she's not technically dead, but she is, because she has been dead for like, who knows how long. She's been dead for a while already. So she's not technically alive anymore. And I like how she's finally at rest in a sense, where she's finally with her family, her home. She's finally able to rest now, because that's basically what she was, a wandering soul, a wandering spirit trying to find her home. And finally, she's able to go back to that home despite everything that happened. And I really love that for Frolova, even though it kind of seemed very sad. I'm happy that Frolova got the ending that she wanted and not a ending that she didn't want, if that makes sense. We also have this new mini game that's like similar to the Renacita's mirror matching game, where you match the music notes in order, deciphering the code and getting asterisks. That's basically why I do it, at least, which I found pretty interesting. It's a new fun gaming mechanic, and I want to talk about the overall environment. I love how we are quite literally underwater. I thought that whole change of atmosphere was so cool, the way that you can quite literally see all the fishes and the sea life underwater. And I like the way that they did it, where it kind of feels like we're in a submarine, like we're in an enclosed space, but we're not technically drowning or anything like that, if that makes sense. Like, you can tell it looks very like it's giving water, you know, but it's not very clunky. It's not too much. Like, you can still run and walk and stuff like that, jump. I really like that. I don't know, I think I'm a huge fan of like the underwater vibe. Same with like Genshin, where they had a update where you can swim, like deep dive underwater. In certain parts of water you can't deep dive in all waters, but in certain waters you can deep dive and collect materials and stuff like that. So that's kind of what this reminded me of, which was really cool. I definitely love all the resources and collectibles that you can find out here, and I had to literally stop to take a picture because I was like, this is actually so pretty. It really does give like we are an undersea mermaid or something like that. And even in the story, there was like a few clips where we're like swimming through like this tunnel or cave, if you will, along with the orange fishes leading us, guiding us out, which was really cool to me. Honestly, I just love the whole vibe and the whole change up from Septimont to this underwater temple. Overall, I really did love this update. This update had me completely taken off guard as per usual. It was packed with so much lore and story and emotion. Like, I genuinely started to feel bad for Lova. What she went through was completely horrible, but at the exact same time, you know, she's not planning on changing that. She's going to continue to go forward along with her plan, and she'll find the happy ending that she's looking for. So with that being said, let me know down below your thoughts and opinions on this 2.4 update. I would love to hear your thoughts and opinions. And yeah, I will see you guys all in the next video. Bye everyone.